Every Digimon fan knows about Digimon Adventure, the first season of Digimon that propelled the phenomenon. But not every fan knows there is a Digimon book that describes the events of the first adventure in close to 800 pages. What makes this book interesting is that it's not just a retelling of the anime, it is packed with lore, explanations we didn't get in the anime, character backgrounds and motivation. There are also some deviations to the story and ideas that never made it to the series, so let's dive in. The Digimon Adventure novel is split into 3 parts, divided into villains, just like the Adventure anime. The first being Devimon, the second Vamdemon, and finally the Dark Masters. The books were written by Kakudo Hiyuruki and Masaki Hiro, both of whom had major roles in directing and writing not just Adventure, but most Digimon seasons. All 3 books were released in 2001. Let's begin with lore. File Island. We don't get much backstory about File Island in the anime. When the Chosen Children defeated Apocalymon, the island was reconstructing itself before their eyes. Centaurmon told them that File Island is a miniature copy of the entire digital world, originally known as the Island of Beginnings. It is small but contains various terrains and climates from all around the digital world. Centaurmon learned about this by deciphering inscriptions in a different part of the ancient Dino region. Before the Chosen Children arrived to the digital world, the File Island was covered in a glacier. When Genai dropped the Digi-Egg on File Island, the ice began to melt. When it looked like their prospects of defeating the 4 holy beasts looked brighter, the Dark Masters dispatched one of their subordinates, Devimon, to File Island to start spreading darkness throughout the digital world. Because of this, equilibrium of the digital world lost its balance, and the Digivices flew towards the human world to bring back the Chosen Children. This is how Digimon Adventure began. When the children left File Island to battle Vamdemon in the real world, the Dark Masters sealed the 4 holy beasts. It could be speculated that the Chosen Children kept the Dark Masters from sealing the 4 holy beasts earlier, so they did it when they left. The sealing was finally completed after many years, when the children and their Digimon were not in the digital world. Homeostasis. Just like our world was in chaos in its beginnings, so was the digital world. At this early time, the idea of evolution came to be. But not just the evolution of Digimon, this process would involve the digital world itself evolving. Homeostasis was created for that purpose. It was mainly a small security detail within the digital world. It was a system without physical form, so it created Genai and other agents to act as its limbs. Light and darkness are 2 sides of the same coin. When light and darkness are at equilibrium, the world is stable and balanced. The purpose of homeostasis was to keep that balance, so whenever the powers of darkness became too strong, it would interfere in order to keep the balance of the digital world from collapsing. We saw this happen many times, which brings about the next piece of lore we learned about from the novel about a very special young girl. Hikari. Homeostasis took over Hikari's body 2 times to communicate with the Chosen Children. The first time it happened to stop the fight between War Greymon and Metal Garurumon during the Dark Master's Reign of Horror. Through Hikari's body, Homeostasis told the children why they were chosen in the first place. The second time it happened in Tri, in which Homeostasis had a big role, sending Jasmine to resolve the problem of Meikomon. Homeostasis also took over Hikari's body then to tell the children why Meikomon needs to be eliminated. The anime did give us a feeling that Hikari is a special chosen child, not only because she was the mysterious 8th, but also because Homeostasis chose to communicate through her because she was the only child who could hear it. The novel gives us a much deeper and complex story about Hikari. One day, a single Digi-Egg flew through the gate of the digital world into the human world and landed in Hikarigaoka, the part of Tokyo where all the Chosen Children used to live. This event was an unexpected isolated accident, one that would prove to be fateful. The Digi-Egg hatched into Botamon, who evolved to Koromon, then Agumon, then Greymon. As I mentioned before, the novel told us that the digital world chose evolution, so we knew Digimon do evolve in the digital world, but what happened with Greymon was such a rapid evolution that it was unthinkable in the digital world. It was a young girl called Hikari Yagami who caused this rapid evolution. She and her brother Taichi were the first humans Botamon came into contact with when he came to the human world. Homeostasis didn't know why Hikari caused this Digimon to evolve, so it sent Parrotmon to retrieve him. At that time, Homeostasis scanned the data of Hikari and, for comparison purposes, also scanned the data of her brother Taichi and all the humans who witnessed the battle between Greymon and Parrotmon. Homeostasis used a group of its agents to analyze the data they obtained. The agents discovered that in each child existed unique spiritual traits such as courage, friendship, love, knowledge, purity, sincerity, hope, and more. This didn't necessarily mean the children already possessed those traits, but had the hidden potential for them. Hikari's trait was different from all the others. Her trait was the presence of the power of life itself. It had the same meaning as evolution for the digital world, or even the same meaning as truth and beauty. As something that is a source of life, the agents called her trait light. It is possible that being a light for others, but not herself, is what made her vulnerable to the dark ocean. Memories of Hikarigaoka. In the anime, the children moved from Hikarigaoka and forgot about what they witnessed, and we don't get an explanation why. We just presume they were too young to remember. But the novel attributes this loss of memory to a higher power that exists in the human world that took their memories away. Homeostasis doesn't know what this power is, and it didn't sense the event in which it happened. This leaves room for theories, but it could be speculated that the digital does not understand the analog. Homeostasis is a digital system. Data stored digitally can be easily accessed and manipulated by programs, unless that data is deleted or corrupted. So Homeostasis doesn't understand why children don't have memories before a certain age and attributes this loss to a specific event. Hikari was the only one of the children who remembered the Digimon, but whenever she brought up the topic later, no one believed her, so she stopped talking about them so as not to sound crazy. Passage of time. 4 years passed since the battle of Greymon and Parrotmon, but 4 years in the human world meant several thousand years in the digital world. During that time, the Digimon's basic traits continued to evolve, and evolved forms of Digimon who had special connections with children from the real world started to appear. Those Digimon achieved rapid evolution through the special qualities of the human child's heart, and this gave them power to exterminate the powers of darkness in the digital world. The Digimon and the children they had a special bond with became known as partners. This explanation from the novel sets the foundation for not only the 8 chosen children from the adventure anime, but also the first 5 and others who came before and after. Digivices and Crests. In order to provide a device that would easily convey a human's heart to their Digimon, Homeostasis made the Digivices and Crests. The design of each child's crest was the exact replica of the design that took form in their hearts when overlaid with a special oscillograph. The Digivices served as transmission devices, while the crests were amplifiers, but the amplifying power of crests had a condition. If the child acted on wicked feelings that went against their trait, their crest would act as a limiter instead of amplifying their power. This is how the digital world overcame dangerous situations countless times. The containment of the first Apocalymon was one of them. The first 5 chosen children. As I said before, after the first Digi-Egg came to the human world and Hikari made it evolve, other children started forming bonds with Digimon. Before the events of the Digimon Adventure anime, the digital world was under crisis caused by Apocalymon. As we know, his main motivation and grudge with the chosen children was the fact that they made Digimon evolve faster and easier, while others had to struggle to achieve evolution or even disappear without ever achieving it. At that time, Homeostasis called for 5 children from the human world and their Digimon partners to help with the Apocalymon crisis. So far, we only know the names of 2 of them, Maki and Daigo, while the other 3 are still unknown to us. The problem was that, at that time, there weren't enough children and Digimon partners to properly seal Apocalymon. 4 of the 5 chosen children's Digimon evolved into the 4 holy beasts, given the role of protecting the digital world. The events concerning Apocalymon and the 4 holy beasts were recorded by the Digimon who lived at that time for future generations, and this record is known as the Digimon Book of Revelations. The Dark Masters and the Spiral Mountain. The 4 Dark Masters had been scheming to take over the digital world for some time. Using the Book of Revelations, they designed their evil plot and used Nanomon to make a program that would build the Spiral Mountain. The program would divide all the data of the digital world into the elements of city, forest, ocean and darkness, and reconstruct it into separate areas that would each be ruled by the Dark Masters. The idea for the program was modeled after a description of Spiral Mountain that appeared in the Digimon Book of Revelations. For centuries in Digimon world time, the Dark Masters battled the 4 holy beasts. Once they were sealed one by one and out of the picture, they could start the program. Qinglongmon was the first one to be sealed by the hands of Piemon. Apocalymon planted the idea through the Wall of Fire into the Dark Masters' minds to unconsciously reject evolution. It is possible that the Dark Masters didn't know the Spiral Mountain would permanently destroy the function of the Village of Beginnings and take away evolution from the digital world. The Dark Seed. In the anime, we see Piemon planting a black ball into young Genai's back, a mass of pure darkness. We didn't get an explanation in the anime what it was. In the novel, Piemon used this black ball to prevent Genai from moving around freely, so he couldn't interfere with the plans of the Dark Masters. Genai hid at the bottom of Temp Lake to use it as a barrier that would prevent the black ball from activating. While inside the barrier, Genai came up with an idea to grow old and disable his body's regenerative function. This way he could prevent the black ball from enlarging. The novel also tells us this black ball is the prototype of the dark seed that became part of the plot for 02. The Black Gears. When Digimon infected with black gears attacked the heroes, none of them went for Takeru and Patamon in the novel. This is explained to be of great significance later. Devimon didn't want Patamon to evolve trying to save Takeru because he knew what Patamon would evolve into, so he wanted to finish him off before that happens. It's interesting what Pico Devimon had to say about the Crest of Hope. He knew Takeru and Patamon were the ones to defeat Devimon. On this, he said that Hope is the most dangerous of all. It has the strange power to turn the tables and gain victory at the last moment. That is why Devimon was defeated and why he tried to make Takeru lose hope. Wizardmons Book. In the novel, Wizardmon came to the digital world from Witchelny, but he didn't just travel there. He was banished from Witchelny because he took the Book of Sorcery. In the anime, Wizardmon carries his staff with him at all times, but in the novel he also never parts with his book. The Book of Sorcery contained secret magic knowledge, and it was forbidden to even read from it. Even though he knew he would be punished, Wizardmon couldn't resist the urge to learn what secret knowledge it holds. As a result, he was banished from Witchelny, and his body changed to look like a life-size doll. The book eventually fell out of his chest pocket during the fight with Vamdemon and sank deep into the ocean. Piemon's Henchman. Lady Devimon, Marine Devimon and Skull Satamon all appeared as Piemon's henchmen. Those are the same three Digimon who appear as Demon's henchmen in 02. Choosing the same Digimon as his henchman opens the door for theories about Demon and his connections to the hierarchy of villains in the adventure universe. Apocalymon. The Etemon, Nanomon, Piccolomon saga was shorter in the novel, but it felt more connected and more important to the story. We already learned that Nanomon created a program that built the Spiral Mountain. During the Etemon arc, Nanomon wanted to summon something from the Wall of Fire, but didn't want to say what. It is described as Apocalymon. This shadowy figure snatched Etemon and Nanomon, making the black hole appear. We all know how the anime ends, but the novel had an epilogue. From that we learned that Sora quit playing football and started learning flower arrangement. Yamato overcame his introversion and made more friends. Koshiro created a computer club for his elementary school. Joe started questioning his decision to become a doctor. Mimi got a new hat from her parents, and it had the same design like the one she left in the digital world. Takeru stopped being a crybaby and grew stronger. As for Taichi and Hikari, by the end of autumn that same year, they heard the whistle Hikari gave to Tailmon. I mentioned the novel doesn't stick to the story from the anime 100%, but the writers of this novel stated that they wrote it keeping in mind the fans of Digimon Adventure and 02 anime series who have seen all the episodes, so they would have something new to learn. This implies that, despite the small changes to the story, the novel does belong to the same lore and universe. Covering every single change would require a much longer video, so let's see what are some of the most prominent ones. While in the anime, we first see the chosen children in the summer camp, the novel first introduces Taichi and Hikari in their apartment as they watch the news about abnormal weather changes around the world. Hikari actually sees the monsters that others think is the weather, like in the anime. However, when she asks Taichi about it, he says he can't see them. Hikari also knows they are Digimon. In the novel, the villains were in contact with each other. When the chosen kids sailed for the server continent, Etemon was waiting for them there. He received a message from Tailmon asking him does he need any help. Etemon hated this because he didn't like her and knew she was just making fun of him. A couple of pages were dedicated to a battle between the chosen children and Cyclomon, which never happened in the anime. This would have been great to see, as Cyclomon has never appeared in any anime. This poses an interesting question: how many more Digimon did the chosen children meet that were skipped in the novel or in the anime? Like, why was Cyclomon included here? He mainly served the purpose to have Taichi doubt his place in the group after Greymon evolved into Skull Greymon. While the others were fighting Cyclomon, Taichi was afraid Greymon would evolve again into Skull Greymon. In the novel, children do not have tags, only crests. Maybe the purpose of tags in the anime was to keep the crests visible around the children's necks all the time, which is not necessary in the novel. In the novel, Taichi finds his crest the same way as in the anime. As for the others, they were in Vandemon's possession after being found by Tailmon. Sora stole the crests of love, friendship and purity while she was hiding and battling her inner demons. The crests of light, sincerity and knowledge appeared to Hikari, Joe and Koshiro when they were activated. The crest of hope was never found. When Taichi and Koromon were sucked in the black hole and returned to the human world, no one could see them as if they were invisible, similar to how Ogremon appeared in that same anime episode. However, Hikari could see and touch both of them. She asked Koromon does he remember her from 3 years ago, but he didn't. The entire arc of looking for the 8th kid is shortened, as they find her shortly after they return, using the Digivice's GPS function. Hikari's Digivice never left her apartment. I think this was handled better in the anime, as the search was more thrilling and mysterious. Venom Vamdemon appeared without a prophecy. After he killed Wizardmon, his staff was left behind and Hikari took it. She heard Wizardmon's voice coming from the staff, telling her how to defeat Venom Vamdemon. Metal Atemon doesn't appear in the novel. Metal Seedramon kills Vamon in one blow, but in the novel he tortured him before killing him. He shot energy beams from his nostrils that left deep lacerations across Vamon's back. Then he used his chrome Digizoid tail to dig into his fresh wounds. Saber Leomon joined the children to fight Metal Seedramon, so everyone got to see his evolved form. He ripped off Metal Seedramon's head, but Metal Seedramon still proceeded to move towards the children. Then Metal Seedramon was defeated by War Greymon, the same way as in the anime, sans the head. Leomon died earlier than in the anime, after his fight with Metal Seedramon. If you thought the Dark Masters were defeated too fast in the anime, in the novel they were defeated even faster. The scene when each Dark Master meets the children is also their last. They are defeated by the end of the scene. In the end, I will briefly give my honest thoughts about the Digimon Adventure novel. I personally really enjoyed reading parts that were new, but I appreciated the parts that just retold the story a bit less. 800 pages is a lot to read about changing something that was already perfect. However, the novel is very easy to read and understand. If there was one thing I would change about it, it's this. The novel should have gone all the way into one direction. Either give us something extra, expand on the lore, character backgrounds, introduce more Digimon, and tell us about situations that happened before or in between big story points that we didn't hear before, or keep the story 100% with no changes, and add all of that deeper information a lot of fans would be keen to learn about. The changes were not story-threatening, but they felt unnecessary because they could confuse fans whether the additional information is canon or not. For fans of adventure, I would recommend you give the novel a try and see how you like it. If for some reason you were living under a rock when the Digimon anime was released and you wanted to get into Digimon through this novel, that is something I wouldn't recommend. You would definitely not get attached to characters as much as we did with the anime. This novel is what it is, a special gift to existing fans. I hope you had fun watching this video and maybe learned something new. I would love to hear your thoughts about the novel and Digimon Adventure in general, so feel free to leave a comment below. If you want to support me, you can do so on Patreon or buy me coffee. The links are in the description below. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more Digimon videos. P.S. Make sure to follow my community page on YouTube, as I also post updates about upcoming videos there.